I'm just going to wait for everybody to join. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sanya Daptardar, and I am your Royal International Miss India Junior Teen. Welcome to this new episode of my live series, Inspire, Unite, Motivate. Through this series, I hope to inspire everybody to create positive change in society, unite all of the change makers in the world, and motivate everyone of all ages to make a difference. So I see that our special guest has joined.
Hi, Sonia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. You look lovely today.
Thank you. You also look amazing today. So
Thank you.
awesome to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining me on my live series. So for any audience members that might not know you, do you want to just introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Mia Vanessa Prom. I'm your reigning international junior miss junior teen. I'm 14 years old. I'm the president of the Kind Mouse Mice in Training and also the founder of my own social movement, Be Beautiful, Be Fly.
That's awesome. So we're here today to talk all things platform.
Yes.
Just touched on yours a little bit. You want to tell us a little bit more about it?
I'm sorry. I think I'm getting a call right now. Can you please repeat the question?
Yes. So what is your, oh, I see we're having a tech issue. Are you there? Oh.
Okay, we're good. We're back.
Yes. So as I was saying, what is your platform, which you already touched on, and what inspired you to start it?
Well, Be Beautiful, Be Fly is a culmination of my basically life's work. Ever since I started pageantry when I was 10 years old, I was stumbling on stage and I was stuttering over my words. And when I looked at these girls, I thought, wow, they're so mature and I want to be just like them. And then that's when I started to share these inspirational quotes like strive for not perfection, but instead to improve yourself every single day. Those are the types of quotes that I shared on my own social movement, which is to uplift and also teach others to become the best version of themselves, as well as to be kind and to embrace who they are. And I'm so grateful to have received a global outreach through my TR and Tea Time Instagram live series, but also my positive affirmation with Queens and my new series, Fly Fridays. It's so fun that with just a click of a button, you can access people from all around the world. Like I represented the Philippines International Junior Miss, and you're representing India Royal International Miss. There really is no limitations to what you can achieve, and I love on social media, you can really promote diversity in your own way.
I can completely relate to that story because I started pageants just a couple of years ago, and I remember looking up to all these older girls. So I was supposed to start as a junior preteen, so around 10 years old when I started, and I'm also 14 now. And I was like, wow, oh my gosh, that's exactly who I want to be. They're so mature, they're so strong, and they're so powerful, and oh my God, this is so amazing. And seeing all of that, but my first pageant, I was very nervous. I was like, to do everything right. And now seeing the growth that I have experienced and seeing all these role models that shaped me into who I am today, I really love that you're able to take that forward and inspire other girls. So you mentioned that you share inspirational quotes on your social media. So which one is your favorite and why?
I love the one where I say, when you walk in the room, you don't try to compare yourself to everyone else. But being confident is when you walk in the room and you don't compare yourself to others. And that really is the quote that embodies me. When I represented the Philippines at International Junior Miss last year, I was actually the youngest in my division. It was my first year as a junior teen, and I thought that I'm not here to win a crown, and if I do, that is amazing. And even if I don't, I'm still the same amazing person that I am inside. And that's something that I've had to dig through and handle all throughout my pageant journey. I remember when I was a preteen, I got first runner up probably 5 times in a row. And that really took a toll on my mental health. And I realized even though I didn't win, that's okay. I'm still as capable as everyone else in the room. And you can't compare yourself to who you want to be, because sometimes we set our expectations way too high. We just have to take those tangible steps every single day. And that quote really resonates with me, because you can't compare yourself to someone else, because their journey, their life story is completely different from yours. You're not going to live the same life story as Oprah Winfrey and get to the same success as her. You have your own unique journey, and you have to follow that no matter how many years it takes for you to win the crown.
I absolutely love that. And when you said that youngest in your division as a junior, I so feel that, because this is actually my first year in the junior teen division. I've been a preteen thus far, so this is a little bit off topic, but do you have any tips for any girl that might be going into the older divisions and does not really know how to navigate this new feeling of being a senior in pageantry?
I agree. It can be very tough, but you're doing amazing right now. You are having such an amazing platform, and that is what I want to touch on, is exactly getting to know yourself. When I first started pageantry, when they asked me what was my favorite color, oh, it would be probably red. I'm not sure why. I just love the color. You know, those are the type of answers of someone who doesn't really know themselves from inside and out. And it's so important to know who you are, your strengths, your weaknesses, what you love and what you're passionate about, but also what you're doing to act onto those passions. That's when I started my social movement, Beautiful Be Fly. Without it, I wouldn't have any sense of direction or purpose, because even with or without pageantry, you don't need a sash and crown to give back. And one of the ways that I knew myself starting out in pageantry is that I'm the type of person that loves to give back. And in the interview room, when I'm on stage, I'm always rating that smile, that I am here to give back, to show other girls that are beginners and rookies that they can succeed no matter what year they start. So it's all about getting to know who you are, but also teaching others how your purpose resonates with you.
Thank you so much for that advice. And I absolutely just love that advice in general. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize that you really have to know yourself before you can let others get to know you. And I think that's something I really felt coming into pageants. Like, they'd be like, what's your favorite color? And like you said, you would say red. And I'd be like, I don't know, pink, maybe gold. I also like that color. I'm not exactly sure. I just kind of like every color. And going into pageants, going through that, I started to really look deeper into myself. Like, who really am I? What are my values? What I want to bring to the table when I go to pageants? And that's just helped me so much as a person overall, not just in pageants. So that's one reason I personally love pageants. So you mentioned you had a podcast on. So do you want to just touch on that a little bit? What is your podcast about? Why do you start it? And anything else you might want to add about it?
I love starting my own podcast. I didn't think it was possible, but I started it when I was around 13 years old, but I had my own Tiara and Tea Time Instagram live series. So I would interview pageant queens like we're doing right now, and they would wear their tiaras, and I would have our sashes and crowns on, and we would be sipping tea, and we would be sharing our own unique stories and how pageantry has changed their life and how they've been able to implement all of the life lessons that they've learned into real life and community service projects, or even through school and service involvement. There are an endless ways of how you can really show that you are being active in your community. And when we share that these girls, that some of them I interviewed, they were 7 years old, but they had their own nonprofit, which is really amazing to me that someone that young could really learn to take action. So this is a series that I had on Spotify and on Instagram where girls can watch, but also listen to how they learned. I actually interviewed Miss Maryland, USA in 2021, Layla Nasser, and she was applying for this job at Google and she got rejected 49 times. But she kept on trying, and that 50th time, she got the position. And that really goes to show that pageantry has taught us that perseverance, that time and time again, even if you don't win, you wouldn't necessarily call that a loss. You would call that a lesson learned. And that is why pageantry is so vital for those skills to learn to keep going and learn grit, because that can get you a long way, especially in the real world.
I like how you said that you didn't think it was possible, because I did not think that it was possible either. Like, I'd see all these girls and they'd have like podcasts and nonprofits, and I'd be like, how though I don't really have a starting point. But I just kind of kept on going, and like they say, you kind of learn on the job. So as I continued in pageantry, I started this series, and I have been amazed at how positive the response has been. Like, I'm able to interview you. I've also interviewed so many other girls, and like you said, I've interviewed girls who are so much younger than me and making such a positive impact. And that never amazed me. And that really just goes to show that it is never a barrier. And I think that's an important message, because a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people in my school even don't realize that. So I love how you said that. So can you tell me a little bit more about the title of your platform? And I saw that you have a logo with like butterflies, and also how did you come upon that design, and why did you name your platform what you named it?
Beautiful Be Fly is really the staple of who I am, because my name, Mia Vanessa, actually means my butterfly. And also when I was younger, my grandpa would always call me Mia girl, like, let's go to school now. I was always called Mia girl. And my mom on Instagram, she's known as Fly Momtographer. She always took pictures of me ever since I was young. And when I was 4 years old, I grabbed a camera. I think it was my grandma's camera. I just started filming myself, and that was one way that I learned to communicate. And Mia Fly Girl is the name that I go by on social media. And sometimes in real life at school, people call me Mia Fly Girl, the one that goes with the flow, who's optimistic, and who gives advice. And Beautiful Be Fly is really about accepting all of your uniqueness. And when we relate to girls and teens all around the world that have one struggle, which is self-confidence and self-love, and when we doubt ourselves, that limits us from all of the opportunities that we can be able to have. And that is why Beautiful Be Fly is where I share not only motivational quotes, but also positive affirmations. I have queens from around the world share their top 6 affirmations that help them through the day. Because when you visualize, when you say those words out loud, you truly embody it and you believe it, and that's who you become. When I was preparing for International Junior Miss, I put an affirmation, I am the International Junior Miss Junior team. And I actually came true because I believed it. Not only that, but I also took actions on who I thought that person was going to be.
Something that really stuck out to me on what you said is that you just grabbed the camera, and that's kind of how you got your name. And the funny thing is, I know pretty much everyone has gone through the phase where they want a YouTube channel, and
Yeah.
through that phase too. And I just really remember, like, I would grab the camera and I'd be like, hey guys, this is what I'm doing. And that actually stuck with me. And now sometimes, occasionally, I do a pageant vlog. I find the time, and it's because I'm able to share that story and share that experience. And I know that when I was getting into pageants at first, that's what really interested me, is what kind of experience are other girls having, because that was the kind of experience that I wanted to have going into pageants. And another thing you said that stuck out to me is that you really believe in confidence and believing in who you are. So what tip would you give to someone that's maybe struggling with their self-confidence or accepting who they are?
One thing that I've learned ever since I was growing up is that everyone is going through their own internal battles. And sometimes people, when they go to school or at home, they look so happy and lively, but deep down inside, they're actually hurting. And you have to realize that pain is temporary. It's not going to last forever, and your life is what you make it. And if you keep believing, oh, I can't do this because I'm not good enough, I can't be a model because I'm not tall enough, I can't be a pageant queen because I'm not articulate enough. There's so many different possibilities of thoughts that really embody and help and also deteriorate you in many different ways. So you always have to be mindful about what you say as well, but also you have to make sure that self-confidence is something that is learned. You're not going to get perfect at it. When you prepare for pageants, when you prepare for life, you're not going to get it overnight with just a snap of your finger. It takes process, and also you have to enjoy the experience as well. There are going to be ups and downs in your life, but you have to know that you are doing your best, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think something that it goes back to is the positive affirmations, knowing that you are enough, you do whatever you set your mind to. And a lot of the things, the things that are holding you back, like, oh, I can't be in pageants because I'm not articulate enough, like you said, you can work on those and you can really do whatever you set your mind to if you're determined and passionate enough. Because I know that going into pageants, I was not the most articulate person. That took a lot of work, and I had to really work on my interview skills. But now I'm able to host this series and I'm able to interview girls just like you. So if you really believe in yourself, you can do whatever you set your mind to. So I love your message. On a little bit of a lighter note, what is your favorite memory with your platform?
Oh, I have so many. I remember when I was first starting my Fly Friday series, where every Friday I would highlight a queen and what they're doing in their community. And that really is important because there are so many underdogs that are unrecognized that people have no idea about, but have big dreams and they're acting on those dreams as well. And I remember when I was first starting out with Beautiful Be Fly, people actually called it cringe and people did not like it because I was trying to be all smiley and lively. But you know, that's just who I am. I can't change that. And if people have negative opinions, that's okay because there are so many other positive opinions that lift me up. People actually made fun of my name, Mia Fly Girl, and that's okay because actually people say that if you receive some sort of negative comments, that means you're doing something right because you're actually leading and taking initiative and paving your own path. And even though people say that you look cringy or you look weird, later when you get the success you want, it's not going to be cringe anymore.
I,
So it is important that even though people think it's weird or not good, even though they think that, you don't think that. You remember your purpose, that's to touch everyone's lives. Yours is to inspire and to motivate with this series. And once you learn that, then the possibilities are endless to where you can go. You really just have to take initiative on that and realize that it's okay if I look stupid or weird. That's okay because when we're all starting out, we all start from somewhere, and the only way is up.
I love your positive outlook on people calling cringe because I've experienced that too. And I remember it got to the point where like I would have my sash and I would go somewhere and I'd be like, I don't really want to wear this and like pose because I was scared, like, oh my gosh, what are people going to say? But once I got over that fear and I started wearing it more and I started kind of being more proud of who I was, I realized that a lot of the times people want to support you or they want to learn more, and there's always going to be more people that are supporting you or curious about what you're doing or want to support you than the people that are kind of pulling you down or saying, oh, that's cringe. And I found a lot of the times when people call you cringe, if you kind of tell them about what you're doing, they can be like, oh, actually, that sounds interesting. I want to get involved. So I love your positive outlook on that. And that's just my take on it. So moving a little bit, so you are the IJM junior team. So how has IJM been able to support you in all of your community service endeavors?
Well, IJM is known as the crown of opportunities. I competed, I think in 2021, I was the Philippines preteen. So I was the oldest in my division, and I represented the Philippines, and I got first runner up, and I was actually very happy. It was my first year with International Junior Miss, and I fell in love with everyone's warm outlook and positivity. That whole week, I actually made a pageant vlog, and I reached people from South Africa and the United Kingdom and Australia that all watched my vlog to help prepare for the pageant. Actually, the current International Junior Miss Princess watched that vlog to actually discover International Junior Miss. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize that I could actually make such a big impact even just as a contestant. So it really doesn't matter if you don't get the international title, because people will see your hard work. They're seeing your perseverance, and they're seeing all of your consistent actions. I would post every single day, even when I had school or tests, because I knew that this was something that I love to do. I wanted to educate more people about pageants. People think it's all about the looks and the superficial beauty, and that you have to look a certain way or fit a mold to win. But you don't have to fit a certain mold. You can be the mold, and you can shape the pageant to any way that you want to be just by being your authentic self. So when I competed as a junior teen, I saw all of these girls. They were like 16, 15, and here I am, just a newly fresh 14-year-old. I'm like, let's go. I'm here to make friends. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. And I actually have touched people from all around the world, and I've really inspired people that, oh, if you're not from the Philippines, if you're from Haiti or Cameroon or Ghana, you can literally represent your heritage and be proud of that, and not ashamed to represent amazing country on your chest, because that is so powerful, and you can teach other people to understand their backgrounds as well.
That's incredible. I absolutely love that. I love that you're teaching everybody to embrace themselves and embrace their culture, because being a first generation Indian, I don't see that enough here. Like, I've seen so many people try to be someone they're not, or try to kind of, hide their roots, or they're like, oh, that's cringe. Or I've even seen people go to the extent where they will make fun of their own culture. But I love that we are able to move past that. We are able to educate everyone that, hey, your culture is beautiful no matter what. And it's amazing to see all these international pageant systems have people from all across the world representing them, like I.J.M. And on a fun note, I actually remember watching one of your pageant vlogs too.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I saw your RIM pageant vlog, and I also saw your I.J.M. one. Wow. And that's where I discovered you. I think it was a couple of years ago, actually, 2021, 2022.
Wow.
So I was like, hey, I remember that. So a little bit more on the positivity note, what are some ways, in your opinion, that we can spread positivity in our day-to-day lives in our local communities?
There are so many ways. I'm actually the president of the Kind Mouse organization. It's a nonprofit organization where kids, actually feeding kids. So we're actually teaching from 5 to 12-year-olds to learn how to pack food, to organize a pantry, and also to learn to run a nonprofit organization and learn public speaking skills. And it really doesn't have to be the big extent of creating your own nonprofit organization or platform. It could be just saying a compliment to someone, holding the door for someone, or actually going to your local food pantry. But it really is about learning what works for you. Even though you might not have an interest in food, helping people who are hungry, you could help an animal shelter. There are so many different ways that you can explore and experiment what you want to do in life, and it's all about trying something new. I love my quote, which is, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And when you put yourself in zones where you're like, I don't feel comfortable here, like when I started in Kind Mouse, I was 10 years old. I had no idea what volunteerism was or what it meant to me. But then when I actually came, because of pageantry, I learned about this organization. I learned we're really assisting these chronically hungry children, but also developing the next generation of volunteers. And when you see it for yourself, when you see that, wow, I'm making someone smile today, that is the reason why you should keep going, and also learn to give back in your community.
First off, I love that quote. I've never heard before. And actually, like, that is one of the best things I've heard today. Like, be being uncomfortable, because when you really put it that way, it really puts a lot of things into perspective. Like when you're in a situation that doesn't make you feel the most comfortable, you're really growing as a person from that. I think that pageants are actually a great example of that, because my first time in a pageant, I was not the most comfortable person. I was like, oh, MG, what did I just get myself into? But I really learned from that experience, and I absolutely loved it. I kind of caught the bug, as they say.
Yeah.
And second thing you said that really stood out to me is that it's important to support other causes. It might not be your number one thing or your favorite thing, but it's still an important cause, and it's important to do some work for it, or even just spread awareness about it. So a little bit on that note, what are some other causes that you've worked for or supported in the past?
I've worked with many causes. I'm actually am part of a nonprofit dance group. We're called the Philippine Performing Arts Company. So I teach and educate people on different folk dances. I know you do Indian dances, and they're also very beautiful. And I love that when we diversify and really show different cultures from around the world, like I can balance glass cups on my head, I could go jump through bamboo sticks. There are so many different ways that we can show that we're involved in their community. And even though growing up I was ashamed of my Filipino culture, people made fun of the a chicken adobo and the rice that I ate at school, and they were eating Lunchables. But now when I go to school, people are selling dumplings in the lunch line. So I've seen the different cultural diffusion that has gone through around the world, and it really is important, because not only when you understand your culture and your roots and you're not hiding it, that is when you become understanding of others, and you teach others that, wow, even though we're different, we all come in different shapes, sizes, and colors. We're all human, and that is something that we all have in common. And that is the reason why we should always treat everyone with kindness, because kindness roots from the understanding that we all struggle.
I can completely relate with that, because growing up, like I would go to school and I'd see all these kids with like pizza and Lunchables, and I would have my own cultural dishes, and people would not exactly make fun of it, but I could kind of feel they're like, oh, what's that? And feel kind of like, oh, and very, very uncomfortable for me. But now going to school, I see so many kids, and they're like, oh my gosh, that looks delicious. Can I try some? And it makes me feel so warm inside that we've grown so accepting as a community, because I think that's so important to teach that from a young age. Being in middle school, going to high school, seeing kids that are accepting of other cultures and embracing that, that's absolutely incredible. And like you said, like there's people with dumplings and sushi and so many different cultural dishes, and it's awesome to be able to try that and to share my own culture. And a little bit of cultural note, since May is AAPI month, what are some of your tips for kids who might be struggling to accept or embrace their culture, to really accept that and really be proud of their heritage and their roots?
It's so important to think that, there's so many other people around the world that are struggling with the same issue. There are some people that don't overcome it, but instead they lash it out onto other people, and they're mean to everyone because they think that they can't be accepted, that they're lonely, and that they're isolated. Like when I was representing the Philippines as a preteen, someone called me a fake Miss Philippines because I wasn't born there. And there are so many different issues that can really tear us down, but you have to understand that what other negativity that they're saying is a projection of how they feel inside. And when you understand that they might be going through a rough time, and they're actually not saying it because it's your fault, but it's because of how they feel deep down, that is when you understand that it's okay if not everyone likes me, because you're not going to please everyone, but the only person that you can please is yourself. And once you have that inner knowing that I'm okay wearing this cultural outfit of mine, and also my Philippine earrings, there are so many different ways that you can be proud of who you are and not ashamed of it, by doing research about your culture and learning from your family and your ancestors. There's so many different ways you can educate yourself, not only because of that, but also you can teach others that this is who I am and I should be proud of it and not ashamed of it. Every time you push yourself out of that potential, that is when you can really unleash who you truly are.
Yeah, of course. And building on that, people love to learn about culture. Like I did not think people would so interested, but I take Spanish currently. I'm just taking a test, and our food unit and one of the writing prompts was, what is a dish from your culture and what are some ingredients in it? And I was just so touched by that question. I was like, wow, my teachers, my peers want to learn more about who I am, and I'm going to be learn about what they are. So if you really just put yourself out there, you're like, hey, this is who I am, people along the way that are going to support you and be proud of you, and they're going to be like, that's awesome. I want to know more. This is who I am. And just that community, I think, is so important. And I've been able to find so much of that community through pageants. So that's definitely my favorite things about pageants. And a little bit on community and building that pageant. How have your sister queens specifically been able to support you? How have you been able to support them? And how has sisterhood just impacted you in general?
Sisterhood is probably the best thing to ever exist. I am an only child, and growing up, I have really had the struggle of connecting with others. That's why I had my own YouTube channel, Mia Fly Girl, and I would get millions of views about people of seeing me and seeing my story of always getting first runner up. And that really encouraged me, and also had different people from around the world to reach out to me. And also my sister queens have recognized and said, I've seen your hard work, and I really appreciate what you're doing to break those stereotypes about pageantry being about the perfect girl. And you really don't want to be pageant Patty. You don't want to pretend to be someone you're not, or to put a facade of what the judges are looking for or what you think that they want you to be, but instead who you actually are, because that is who they accept. I heard that if the judges are judging someone, and if you are being who you are, they're going to know, and they're going to say, that's our winner, because they are exactly who they are. They're not trying to be the perfect pageant girl. And when you really learn that with my sister queens, I've had all of them support me and all of my beautiful Be Fly movements, and I'm incredibly grateful for that, because when we lift each other up, you lift up the entire community. And when more sister queens are educated about the pageant world, they can share people who don't know what pageants are, or who have no idea what the pageant world is. At school, some people think pageants are literally like toddlers and tiaras, and that is not true. There are many different kinds of pageants, and that is why pageant sister queens really help us understand that this is a sisterhood where we can relate and unite under one purpose, and that is to give back. And when we are together, that is when we can collectively change the world.
I completely feel that toddlers and tiaras comment, because I remember going to school and I was talking a little bit about pageants, and this was just like maybe a year or two ago, and I was talking about it, and I was talking to this one person, and I was like, oh, I do pageants, and that just came up in the conversation. And then when it came up again, he's like, oh, I thought you meant, just wearing a gown and looking pretty. And I was like, past, I used to get mad. Like, that is not what I do. And I know that inside. And so many other people know that like me. But now I use it as an opportunity to educate people. Like, while that's the stereotype, this is what I actually do. And going back to building a community and finding supportive people, that is how I found so many people that have supported me on this journey thus far. So I love you're able to build that. And going to the sister queens portion, I absolutely love it as well, because I have a younger brother and he's awesome, but I've never had a sister growing up. So finding that in pageants has just been a great, great part. So a little bit of pageants and how they've been able to help us on that note. What are some ways that pageants have been able to boost your confidence, really shape you into the person you are today?
It's important in pageantry to actually find a mentor. And in pageantry, I wouldn't be able to have won this international sash alone. It actually takes a village. It takes a fashion designer. It takes a mom, a photographer. It also takes a mentor. My actually sister queen, the International Junior Miss, Faith Pierre Charles, she was my pageant coach. And I actually encouraged her, hey, you should be Miss Haiti, and I can be Philippines. We can compete. at International Junior Miss together, and we manifested that we were going to win and be sister queens. And it's so important to have someone to look up to know someone who's understands you, who's been in your footsteps, and that really gives you that self-assurance that I know what I'm doing and I got this, and I can have that confidence to keep accelerating and elevating to the next level. Because it's not only about staying stagnant, that once you win, oh, I'm on top of the world and I don't have to go anywhere, I'm done, you know? There's so many different ways that, okay, this is not the end. This is just the start of me of accelerating my platform and gaining a bigger outreach. And also, we tend to put invisible walls in front of ourselves that stop us from unleashing our full potential. I remember before I was like, oh mom, I don't want to take a picture like at school with my sash, like people are going to judge me. And that is a mindset that we shouldn't really be out looking for. We should be someone who accepts that pageantry is an amazing place, and even though not everyone knows about it, it's important to teach people something new, because that is what everyone loves, is to be interested in different and new ways of learning.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that a really important thing is really kind of growing from that. Like when you said, like a lot of the times I can relate to that too. Like, oh, mom, I would be like, oh, I don't take a picture here. Oh my gosh, people are going to judge me. They're going to come up to me and they're going to be like, what are you doing? It would just be such a scary prospect to think about. But now I've really kind of grown from that. And now I know that instead of, being scared, I should be confident in who I am. And if anyone asks me, I can take that as an opportunity to tell them about who I am. And that's how, like I said before, I've met so many people. So, and something else is that starting a platform can be really scary, because a lot of the times people are like, I want to start one. I really don't know where to start though. Like, what am I supposed to do? Is there like a guide? And there isn't, unfortunately. And I think that's, so many people have gone through that. I have personally experienced that. I was like, I want to start a platform, but I actually have no idea where to start. So if anyone wants to start a platform out there who's watching, do you have any tips for them?
Yeah, there is so many ways for us to know who we are, especially in pageantry. When you want to first compete in a pageant, you have to do your research about the system and the organization that you want, because it is something, it's a job, it's a 365-day commitment that takes responsibility, and so does a platform. It's where you're in charge. You have to take that leadership, and it's important to not demand or command that you have to do this, because of the ultimate goal is like self-love. You have to really understand them and put yourself on their pedestal, that hey, this is something that I really am passionate about, and I believe you are a perfect candidate for helping spread my mission of teaching others to be the best version of yourself. So it really is about networking. And when I first started with Beautiful Be Fly, I had like 10 followers, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. So I had to make sure that I connected with my mentors and my coaches, and I asked them, hey, how can I get a bigger outreach? And that really is about communicating with other girls. When I first started, I was the I.J.M Philippines preteen. I was messaging girls on Instagram if they would like to be on my TR and Tea Time series. So when you're starting out, you have to show that this is who you are, this is what you love to do. And when they see that you really work hard and you're determined about your message, then they're going to want to join you too on your mission.
I think the most important thing you said there that really stood out to me was the networking part. Networking honestly used to scare me. I was like, how am I supposed to take that first step? Like, I want to reach out to them, but I don't really know what to say or what's going to happen. But I think that I kind of just learned by doing it. And that's something I tell a lot of people. They're like, oh my gosh, you know so many people, and how is that? And I'm like, I just talk to them, and I've done that, and this is kind of what works for me. And I think it's really different for every person. And on that note, do you have any networking advice?
Well, there's only one way to know, and that is just to go for it. Even if you're scared, just do it scared. Because even though it's a daunting experience and you feel like, oh, they're probably going to think I'm weird, or they might say no, and that's okay. I've gotten so many no's. I've been left on red like a million times, and that is okay. It's okay to feel that you've been rejected, because that is the only way that you can learn to keep going, because what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and every single no will make you so grateful for that one yes. And that's what International Junior Miss has allowed me to do. With these pageant titles, people don't realize that this puts you on this pedestal to do something great, but also to learn that I'm a humble person and I'm not trying to boast that, oh, I'm the queen and I'm the best. You know, that's not who we are. We're the people who want to uplift people who don't have voices, who really aren't recognized, that you have to give hope for them, because they were just like us when we started. And when you put them in their shoes, that, oh, this is a person that I want to be. And if they learn that, hey, I want to be like them too, then they will join on you. You just have to take action, because that's the only way you can grow.
When you said you've been left on red many times, like I so felt that, like into starting this series, even like so many times I reached out to people and they've left me on bread, or they're like, oh, I'll get back to you, and it doesn't work out. But at the same time, I had so many people like you who have been so supportive, and they've been, yes, this sounds like a great idea. So you're gonna get a lot more no's than you get yeses, and I kind of learned that the hard way. But like you said, it makes you stronger. So you also, I saw on your website that you have a blog. So can you just tell me a little bit more about that? What inspired you to start that? What are some topics you discuss in the blog and anything like that?
Well, my website, Be Fly, I started it when I was around 12 years old, and this was during COVID time. I actually lost my grandpa due to blood cancer, and I actually watched him pass away, and it was actually a very painful and traumatic experience for me. And that's when I learned that he always wanted me to pursue pageantry, and he wanted me to do my best in everything that I do. And his legacy was to give hope to the hopeless. And that is the reason why I started Beautiful Be Fly, and also to learn about pageantry. I talked about my grandpa in my interview because he's the reason for me to keep going, and also to start my blog and also my website. So on my blog, I said 3 ways to stop comparing yourself, or 3 ways to help with your mental health, or 3 ways to really become the best version of yourself. Because it does take time. It's not just a 1, 2, 3 and you got it. There's going to be so many different trials and errors. I've tried tons of different hacks and tips to help me to get over all of the traumatic experiences. And it's true that it will always be there. It's never going to go away. But you just have to learn to cope with it, and to learn to take your pain but as fuel to your fire and your passion, and that will keep you going.
Yeah, and I think that's just a big part of optimism. Like a lot of people are like, oh, how are you able to be so happy? How are you able to be so optimistic? And it's because I'm able to take the bad experience I've had, or in your case, traumatic experiences, and I'm able to take that and turn it into a positive, or something that makes me more determined and more perseverant, and something that really just makes me want to reach for my goals. So I think I love that. And I just want to give a shout out here to Olivia. She's been a super active here, and she said turning pain into a
Oh,
purpose.
that's
And
really good.
I absolutely love that. Yes. So you're able to turn something that's been painful for you into a purpose that you're able to pursue. So wrapping up this interview, I have one last question for you. If someone wanted to get involved with your platform or help out, how can they do so?
Yes, if you would like to be featured on my TR and Tea Time series, or my Fly Fridays, or my positive affirmations, don't hesitate or be scared to message me, because I read literally all of my messages. Because any single person that messages me, I will always give them a chance to have their voice heard, because no one deserves to be silent. So you can reach out to me on my title holder account at I.U.M International Junior Teen, or my platform account at Be Fly. And you can also see my personal life on at MiaFlyGirl_ on all social media platforms.
Yes. So if you're watching this live, be sure to check out the replay because I'll link all our accounts there. And if you are watching the replay, just check out the description and you can go follow Mia. So thank you so much for being on the show today. I had an amazing time talking with you, and it's just been a pleasure to be able to meet you and get to know you.
Oh, thank you so much. I had such an amazing time on here. You have such a bright future. I wish you the best of luck at Royal International, Miss. I'll definitely be there, and I will come and look for you, okay? I'll be cheering for you in the audience.
Thank you. I definitely look forward to meeting you in person since we're talking virtually now, and I really look forward to meeting you in general. So, yeah,
Miss, thank you so much. Have an amazing day.
you too. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
All right, bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's been amazing having you on here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here today. I hope everybody has an amazing rest of their day. And if you'd like to be on this show, if you'd like to be the next girl boss to share about her amazing efforts, be sure to DM me and you will get to be on the next episode. Bye, everybody, and have a wonderful and blessed day.